And welcome to a new version of VIP Minds. And this is the VIP Minds podcast. My name is Adam, and I'm joined by the lovely Saleha.
Hello,
So,
everyone. Hello, Adam.
right, so Saleha is going to be the other host on this show. And this show is about mental health, life in general, and business, and how people, especially women who start up businesses, go through their struggles and end up achieving what they need to achieve. And there's some inspirational stories, but all of this is done in a very light-hearted way. We will be having interviews and some case studies. Uh, this is a half an hour show, so we don't take much of your time. It's been a long time coming. I did make a plan earlier this year to do this, and now it's come to fruition. But so today's episode is going to be about EQ and men in particular. Very interesting subject. I have been the recipient of dealing with my EQ. So we're going to have a nice little chat about this. So Saleha, tell me,
Yeah.
how was your week anyway?
So my week's been it's been good. There's a lot of things that I need to do. A little bit of a procrastinator sometimes. And I'll do everything else in the whole world to avoid doing what I need to do. So, but I've actually got it done now. So I'm happy about that.
So
Yeah.
they say procrastination is those people are there was like a diagram called the
Uh-huh.
instant gratification monkey, they called it. And
Uh-huh.
it's like thing that like you're drawn by instant gratification, and then that's it, and then everything else you just put to one side, and if it doesn't fulfill that, you're not going to do it. Yeah.
God knows. I'm not sure about that. It's just some like boring stuff that I have to do. But yeah, I've got around to it, so I'm pleased with myself. But it's been a good week. It's
Good.
really incredible how busy that I am, based on the fact that it's COVID. Incredibly busy, so many things to do. I can't believe it.
That means
When I was at home normally, it'd be
Mhm.
like, oh, I'm resting or whatever, but it's constantly on the go.
That means there's a lot of blessing in your time. Lap it up, lap it up.
I hope so. I hope so. I hope
Yeah,
so. What
so
about yourself?
me,
What about yourself?
this week has been awfully busy for me. I've gained a new skill of logo designing and banner designing for social media. I've just been playing around with that.
Ah, yes. Yes, you
So
did share some stuff. Very good. Very
yeah,
good.
so for my business, I've decided to do things myself. Like I think it's all right trying to outsource everything, but I make things complicated for myself, and that's one of them is learning how to do things. I'm a bit of a leech for knowledge and understanding how
Mm.
things work. Um, but I think with the software packages that I've got, I've
Uh-huh.
kind of put it out there. I'm even trying a hand at English teaching online. You don't need any qualifications apparently. Um, so,
Really?
yeah, well,
You
you know,
don't
you
need a
don't.
TEFL?
No, you
TEFL
don't.
or
Not
something?
not for this. No, not at all. Not for this. I'll share that with you afterwards. You know,
Ah,
I don't want to promote
interesting.
them online. They're not sponsoring me. But yeah, so it's been an interesting week. It's been one of learning, one of trying to struggle through life's situations. Like today, my son got sent home from nursery, and all of a sudden, I'm looking after him while I'm trying to do work at the same time
Mm,
and put him to
mm.
sleep. So yeah, it's been an interesting week. Busy as well. I liked it. It's good. I like to keep
Good, good.
busy. I hate not doing something. And I've tried to keep my word with a lot of things, like one being this, but yeah, I can easily.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fantastic because I'm delighted to be doing this with you because I think what I was just thinking, our meeting, our meeting each other, and I think both of us have got really high EQ, by the way. I
Yes.
need to get that in there.
Yes, me too.
um, call it EI or EQ. Both of them, we have high levels of it. Is I met you at a function with your wife Shabnam, and something about you I really liked. Um, you were very stiff upper lip. I thought, God, he's from the city, isn't he? All suited and all. I remember, it was like wearing a pink tie, and then afterwards, many months later, we realised that we'd met each other at a mutual kind of friend stroke relative's house,
Yeah.
even though we're not related, years ago, and it was like, subhanallah, you know, how interesting is that?
You were, I think you were 14 and I must have been, what am I, 7 years younger than you? So I'm going to give away your age if I say that, but
Don't tell everybody.
you were 14 at the time. Yeah. Yeah.
Subhanallah, and isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And
No, 6 degrees of separation, they say, right?
probably well, it's 2 degrees here then, isn't it?
Yeah.
So anyhow, so I wanted to, the thing with emotional intelligence, there's a lot being written about it.
Yes.
And in fact, I was just looking at some research, and 78% of employers say they would rather have somebody with high EQ than take on somebody with high IQ,
Yes.
which is very interesting. Um, and I think also, like, in terms of like with particular communities,
Yeah.
um, there often seems to be this sense of that some men, do they have low EQ and very high IQ? Is that something that's really kind of more desirable within our community? And I think that's something that would be good to explore. But my question that I wanted to ask you as a man, right,
Yeah.
because I think a lot of women do have EQ already,
Mm.
okay, is what is EQ to you and how does it look in terms of your life?
So I'm just to touch upon something first that you
Yeah.
said about men having higher IQ and lower EQ. I would in especially in a place of work, and especially if they are founders or startup junkies, I
Mm,
found it really, really prevalent that they have a very low EQ, that they go off tantrum and they go uh, off on one literally. Like if they're very narcissistical,
mm,
very controlling. I'm the opposite. Yeah, because I've come from a management background and I've understood the world of
mm,
how to deal with people. I understand anthropology. I would say I'm an
mm,
anthropologist. I love understanding people. Yeah. Um, but they are very controlling. They have very high temperament, like this. No, sorry, low temperament. They just split,
mm,
short fuse, bang. Um,
mm,
but their intelligence is just extremely high. Give an example: Steve Jobs. That
mm,
guy was. I mean, if you read his book and you've listened to
mm,
interviews of people around him,
mm,
he was really nasty to people and used to insult them literally if he didn't get his way. Um,
mm.
and he would go off on one if he wasn't agreed with. But
So are you saying that basically he had very high IQ,
yeah,
but not necessarily EQ?
yeah, EQ was low.
Yeah.
He wouldn't
Okay,
control
all
his
right.
emotions. So for me,
Mm,
EQ is um, uh, is being able to have a control over your emotions. Is you controlling your emotions, not your emotion controlling you. And that means as well that you dictate. It's not how. It's not how you react to the situation determines the end outcome, right? So if something came towards me and someone's, shouting and screaming at me, if I was to do the same thing back, then there would be an argument. Then there would be
mhm,
a
mhm,
height of emotion all of a sudden. If I was to just listen, understand, and say, okay, look, can I just what I heard, can I just tell you what I just heard? And then talk
mhm,
it from there and just control it. Because you got to know it's not personal. Nothing is ever personal from anyone. It really isn't, because someone might be going through a bad day and it's just in their nature just to be nasty at someone, but it's not personal. It only becomes personal when, if someone knows who I am and they've sat in my company and they say, you're an idiot. Actually, I don't like the way you talk. I don't like the way you eat and da da da. Um,
mhm,
then I'm going to say, okay, hold on. We need to sit down and talk, because I need to understand why you've just said that, because you know me. So I need to look at myself. That's a high IQ, high EQ for me. On the other hand, on the flip side, is that I could turn around as, if you don't know me and you're saying that about me, then I'm not going to care, because you don't know me. So I'm just going to say, okay, you're entitled to your opinion. That's fine. But what is it that how did you derive that type of thing? And that's the end of it. I won't bother about it because I
Okay,
don't
so
know them.
basically, right. So there's two elements. So you're saying, look, on a kind of like a business or a work level, you
Yeah,
know, you're using your EQ to basically understand others and yourself.
yeah,
But when it comes to like within a personal space,
yeah,
right, and that could be from family members and whatever,
yeah.
that if things are said to you, then I mean, actually, you're saying that, you know, I mean, it depends. I was thinking about this, that often at work you can be different, but
Yeah,
at home
very different.
you know, because they say if you've got kind of high EQ, then you're going to, you know, not kind of have an argument, or you know, you'll be a better listener. It's different, but you know what, I think there are so many other emotions at play when you're at home that
I, I,
sometimes people don't use their EQ.
I
You
think
know.
it's down, I think it's down to something, and you know, a lot of women might disagree with. I don't know if you disagree or agree with this, but I think coming from a male perspective, you know, when a guy clams up and he's very quiet and doesn't share their feelings, yeah, which is
uh
probably the overarching
Which
subject
is,
of this
yeah,
podcast,
yeah, probably is mostly, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Um, but when a guy doesn't share their feelings, the woman says, "Talk to me, trust me, tell me how you're thinking. I need to know." But then, you know, does she actually want to know? Because if all of that came out, she's put herself in a situation of insecurity because she's like, hold on, I thought something else with this, but now everything else has come out and this is not what I perceived. And all of a sudden they get a bit like, why are you being negative? That's come out sometimes with some people.
All right. Okay. All right. So let me just say. I mean, I just want the listeners or the viewers to know that
Just to add one more thing before
sure,
before I forget.
yeah,
Just to
sure,
add one more
sure,
thing.
sure.
Do they actually really care about what the man thinks, or is it just actually about them wanting to feel, okay, I'm in control here? Because is it a situation that, because many times it's romanticized when the guy dies for the woman. Yeah. Oh my God, it's so touching. Oh my God, he died
When
for
the man, what? Sorry.
when a guy
When the
died
man
for a woman. Yeah. Oh my God,
dies.
he would die for me. Oh my God.
Oh, right. Okay.
But to think that your child or your women would die for you is abhorrent. It's just it's unthinkable, right? So is it actually about the man, or is it about her that that man should be telling their feelings?
All
So,
right.
oh, sorry,
So I
I
think,
forgot.
yeah, yeah. I think you've given like quite I think we'll have a several podcasts
Yeah,
about this. I just wanted to kind of just make people aware is that I come from like a background in social work, psychology, in psychotherapy, and so kind of like I work on feelings and emotions and all of those things. And I think those are very good observations. One of the biggest problems is that women want men to talk. They do. I mean, like, you know, we shout and say, look, you know, have you done this, or are you doing this, or whatever? And the men just suddenly, it's like they freeze. They
mm,
literally just freeze. And I feel as though, and my own husband has done this, and other men that I know have done this, and I get lots of complaints from women. And I'm sure you've done this. And as you say, are you do and I'm not sure if it's a common theme within men,
mm.
in terms of what you said, is that you just basically don't want to let the woman know the truth, okay, because it will hurt her. Or do you just suddenly go brain freeze and you go into your man cave and don't say anything? Women, we need to kind of hear.
Mm.
It's really important for us to hear something, even if like you might say, I am dealing with it, give me some time.
Yeah.
That's enough. But it's when people don't respond at all that you just want to feel like you keep on going, you know,
Is it
rabbit,
put you in a
rabbit,
place of
rabbit.
insecurity?
I don't know. It could be. I think there's this whole thing
Because women
around.
like to be secure, right?
Yeah,
Women
yeah,
love to
yeah.
feel
They like
secure.
it's about security.
Yeah,
It is. It is about security. It's
yeah,
about feeling as though, have you done it?
yeah,
Have you done it? Because with us women, we multitaskers.
yeah.
Now, you know, with men, you actually can't do more than, you know, one thing at a time.
With the
You know,
exception of
I'm not
me,
being rude.
I
I'm
can,
not being
I can. I'm an
rude. Okay.
exception.
All right. So you've got your female kind of side on then. But what I'm saying is that we can. You know, we're doing the washing, we're doing the cooking, we're doing the cleaning, and on the kind of like laptop as well.
Yeah.
And we've just been wired differently.
Yeah.
And men are different. And I think that in terms of like relationships, women are looking for security, just in terms of like, yeah, you know what, I am dealing with it.
Yeah.
And that's all I want to know, for example. And it might be the same with in your family, that just want to know that it's being dealt with. It might take ages,
Yeah.
but yes, I'm on it.
Yeah.
But if you don't get anything at all,
Yeah.
you just feel as though like you're not getting through to that person.
Yeah.
And then there might be an opportunity where you do actually have that discussion about some of the things that you are feeling. And that, I think, is good in terms of EQ. It's good because sometimes you do need to have a heart-to-heart and tell them. And I am concerned because if men don't do that, and one of the things we said we're going to talk about is mental health, is that the men are keeping it inside and not airing it.
No, they're not.
And and the thing is that if you don't air it, we can just, like, we can say something, it might come out really horrible, whatever, and then later on you'll say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way, blah blah blah. And or you kind of make up. But men, if you're holding it, can't say it, not sure if you can say it, there's going to be literally a blast if you do. That's not good for your mental health. That's not good for you physically.
No.
And it doesn't have to be this, full blown out argument.
No.
I do think that men need to talk.
But do they have the EQ to talk?
Well, you don't know until you start. It's not. I mean,
because in the home environment compared to work, it's very, very different. That
yes,
at
of course.
home, there's a sense of, with most things, there's an air of ego. There's an air of wanting to ego in the sense that the man feels like he needs to be the provider of the house, and if that's taken away from them, or that if a side of vulnerability is put out there, then all of a sudden he doesn't become the one that security is held in. Like, and the woman herself, when a guy starts to outpour everything, it's too much for her. They can't handle it. We just in general, women can't handle a lot of like boof, boof, like literally coming their way. Like, oh my God, I've had a depressing day today, and once or twice or ever, then the woman gives her advice, gives the bloke advice or whatever. But when it's constant, I feel depressed. Every day I feel depressed. I'm really sad. Is it something that men feel comfortable talking about because they know they're going to get something back that's not going to be what they like?
It depends on if that's a hypothetical kind of, because it's very difficult to deal with, like something that's hypothetical.
No.
If you say to me, look, if you say to me that somebody who is feeling quite low every day, and there are things going on in their life, and if they and they have shared it with their partner, and often it's turned into like some sort of like, and rather than support, it's come out as a slanging match or more kind of like negativity. Then of course the man's going to feel as though I can't share it because I'm not getting anything back in terms of any sort of sympathy. And you're also thinking, well, if a woman needs reassurance and the man is constantly saying, I can't do this for you, I can't do this for you, it's not working out. That's when I think sometimes that you do need to speak to someone else. The thing is, what I'm saying is that basically sometimes you need to have a neutral space.
I agree with you.
And that's what I'm saying is like, even part of our podcast is to kind of to talk about those things and just let people listen and think about, does this resonate for me? Is this applicable to me or my situation? And sometimes you can't get the answers from your home or your relationships because there's so many other things at play.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, like, you've got situations where I mean, in general, for men, you have to understand they got brought up by, most men in general got brought up by very loving mothers who gave them a lot of love and affection. Yeah. When things were going wrong, mother would come along and give them a hug when they were children and tell them it's going to be okay and give them food, make the clothes for them, whatever it is. Yeah. Make them feel better. Mummy would make me all feel better. That's what it was. Yeah. When they go into a marriage situation or girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is, yeah, um, then comes this, like, the woman, she's expecting a man. She doesn't want to spoon feed a man on emotions. Some like that. Some really like it. But does she want to? And then the man's like, he's going up around this thing that I have to provide for a woman. I have to be the man. I have to. But what does that actually mean? Yeah, be the man. Men don't show emotions. We see films where, the John Wayne characters from the old, and then you got the new ones, and all these young guys who are very ripped and built, and they're very stern towards women, and you got the hip hop songs and stuff which very demean women totally. So there's a culture and just an environment around you that makes you perceive certain things.
Well, okay. I mean, I had two different things there. I think one, I had that basically young boys are given a lot of love by their, their mother or their female
Both.
kind of,
Yeah.
that's there.
Yeah.
Their mothers are doing that for them. Suddenly, when they get married, they're responsible for a woman in a different way, and they may not get that kind of love, and they shouldn't do it. They're not getting married to their mother. But I
Of
think
course
we've
not.
got to unpack this. Yeah, but but we've got to unpack this thing about what does it mean, and you said it yourself about they're expecting a man. What does it mean to that woman? What
Yeah.
does it mean?
Yeah.
So it could mean that somebody who's going to be financially bringing enough money that she doesn't need to work, or it could be contributing, it could be just being there when she needs a shoulder to cry and to talk about her issues or whatever. So you know what, I think that and it's interesting because in many ways COVID is making people even more closer, as in like they're together physically, not necessarily emotionally closer, because there's the divorce rate has gone sky high.
I think people are
It's gone
finding out.
so bad. Huh?
I think people are suddenly realizing in lockdown. Well, in lockdown, people realized, usually when you get married, you get busy. You both work, or one's at home and one's working. You're out of each other's faces, yeah.
Yeah,
And
for
then
a
the
long
kids go
time.
to school or whatever. All of a sudden, they were cooped up in one environment, and it became a social experiment, literally like a Big Brother household. Everyone was
Yeah.
like, is either beautiful, or it became a very nasty, toxic environment. And everyone's like, what on earth did I see in you in the first place? Oh my God. Because the honeymoon period of led up to the marriage and led up to kids all went literally. It's like all of a sudden I'm in your face and I'm seeing every single habit that I really do not like. It could be the picking of the nose or leaving the toilet, whatever it is. Yeah, but it's just like it's like you're looking thinking,
What is that saying? They say familiarity breeds contempt.
yes, yeah, yeah.
So it's basically about when you're in each other's faces, it can be difficult, and it doesn't mean that there isn't love. It's there's a lot of emotions that are going on in regards to COVID. The fact that people are fearful, they don't know what's going to happen. They want to have consistency in their lives. They want to know that, for example, Adam, you're going to be the person that I thought you were going to be for
Mm,
me, strong and dependable and blah, blah, blah. Or Saleha, I expect you to be like X, Y, and Z.
mm,
And, you know, we invest a lot of emotions and energy into our other half.
yeah,
Do you understand?
yeah,
Where in fact, what we really need to do is to look within ourselves, because no one can do anything for us.
no,
Everything emanates from ourselves, really. Your other half is an illusion in many ways. You cannot, you know um your wife or your husband or whoever cannot provide you with feelings. You know, you have to, it has to come from yourself. So we're always projecting onto the other person, and that's what's difficult.
I truly believe that. I truly believe that, especially for a man, they need to be in a happy place before you get married. It's very important that you are in a happy place
Both,
before you get. Yeah, I
Adam,
mean, vice
it's not
versa as
just,
well
yeah,
for men and women.
yeah,
But they both, because
absolutely.
I've seen relationships where the guys don't talk, or the women doesn't. Even the women don't talk, and the guys are one who's the emotional one, and it's a very toxic environment all of a sudden because one can't handle the other, and you know there's no sync of communication. They suddenly hate each other's environment, um, and it becomes very nasty. And you know they bring their past over into that relationship, thinking the other person can handle it when they didn't want to know in the first place. At first, it was like, okay,
Yeah.
look, you know, I'm here for you. I'm a friend. I'm here for you. Um, then you fall in love with the character, and then all of a sudden, it's like, what on earth is this? Like you just
I'm going to
shocked.
go back to what you just said about this whole thing around if you're not already in a kind of good place, in a you know, call it like a happy state, um, then you should really think about whether or not you know, you're getting married for the right or wrong reasons. I've always said that if you are not emotionally in a good state, do not get married to and believe that the other person is going to make you happy.
I agree
It's
with
not going to
what you
happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And
because it leads
as you
to
say, I
abuse.
mean, you know, sorry.
It leads to abuse. It leads to emotional abuse of.
Yeah, because of, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think this is again like um, what I would say. You know, there's just so much to talk about in regards to this. EQ is just an element of someone's personality, you know, and I think the key messages for today would be that if you can't talk to people in your household, you just need to speak to somebody else outside. Honestly, it
Yeah,
can really give you a good perspective. It really is important to do that, and there's nothing wrong with it. I think a lot of people believe, oh my God, you know, there must be something wrong with me. I need to speak to somebody else. You know, I'm not good enough. And it's not. It's nothing like that at all. It's
yeah.
just normal.
I think for a male, if you are scared of talking or feel that you know you are going to react to something very quickly, um, if that situation does arise and you're in a situation like that, just walk away for a little bit, count to 10 or do whatever, take a break, a mental break away from the situation, and then come back and revisit it, because the worst thing you could do is to react to it on an impulse. And
Mm.
especially having an EQ is not a bad a low EQ is not a bad thing. It's not something that's you're dumb. It's nothing like that. It's just we either have it or we don't, and we start to train ourselves on developing a strong mental resilience to things around us and understanding how we should react to certain things, controlling your anger, controlling your, you know, just the emotion that you have inside of you. And it's knowing it's that it's not personal. It really isn't personal. It's something that you have to determine how you perceive what's happening towards you. You can either take it with a pinch of salt or you can either react to it. Then what would be the end outcome? Think of it very carefully. There are people to talk to. We've got 2 minutes left. Um,
Well, I think you know, we've gone through quite a lot of stuff. I hope we get some observations, some questions and things
I tell
that
you
will
what we'll
come
do.
to us.
We're gonna we're gonna come back and carry on for 10 more minutes. Yeah. Um, and just stay tuned, and we'll be back in 2 seconds.
Mhm.
Okay, welcome back to part two. This is the VIP Minds podcast with Adam and Saleha. Right, so we were talking about
Hello,
having.
everybody. Hello, Adam.
Hello, hello. So yeah, we were talking about EQ, right? About having not having EQ is not a bad thing. A high EQ is not a bad thing, but what you need to do is control how you react to things around you. That's all it is. There are people out there you can talk to, and Saleh is right. You know, sometimes having a third party to talk to can be a very big help in a certain way for, especially a guy who finds it hard to just talk because of how he feels he might be perceived by the other person. So I think if you need to talk to someone, there are organizations that you can talk to. You know, I will leave my link on the description, and by all means you can inbox me and we can have a conversation if there is any help, that if anyone wants to, you know, talk about or anything, whatever it may be. I don't know, but there's help out there. There are people.
Yeah,
You
and can I also say that too? Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Sorry, go
yeah,
on.
yeah. I think that's really important. I mean, especially in these times. I think especially in these times, it's important to be able to reach out to people. And as I said, that I've done lots of things, as you know, Adam. I've kind of run big organisations and
Yeah, yeah.
charitable organisations, etc. I've now returned to working with individuals and families because
Grassroots.
because basically at the end of the day, if you haven't got people who are solid, what sort of organisation are they going to run? What sort of business are they going to run? Because they'll be so stressed.
Yeah, yeah,
You've got to be pretty kind of well within yourself to be able to go out there and to do everything else, and that's what's really important.
yeah.
And millions of pounds won't do that, millions of dollars won't do that, a flash car won't do that, and an amazing house won't do that. It will just make you help maybe better because you've got a softer bed or whatever, or a car that's faster. But
Mm,
actually we have to go back internally. We have to go and deal with ourselves. The answers aren't on the outside in the world, in other people. The
mm.
answers are all inside of us.
Yes.
And it takes time to understand that. It's one of those things that you won't suddenly say, what would you mean? I'll do a course and I'll be better, or I'll get this done and I'll be fixed. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. So the thing is, though, the first point is we need to be able to speak. We need to be able to say what's on our mind, and to realize that you're not being affected in that way. You're not the only person. There are thousands of people out there who are feeling the same way as you, feeling a bit stuck, feeling they don't know what to do. They might be feeling depressed, upset, even crying. And, they don't want to show it because, if you think about the whole issue around men, no, I can't show it. And in particular in some communities, they have to be very strong.
Yeah.
Strong means that they will never cry.
Yeah.
And maybe a teardrop may happen, but it just, it's still there.
Yeah, I think men in general just they I think there's an air of not trusting. Over time when a guy clams up and they shell up, it's just a lack of trust that they have in the process of speaking
Mm.
about their emotion and what they're going through. And there's a lot, a lot of guys have gone through a lot of stress during the lockdown, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety of not providing, um, you know, just the insecurity of losing a job. I know a few people, man, that were on furlough, and they don't know it's been extended to January, and they don't know if they're going to be in a job after January. Um, they're frantically looking around thinking, what am I going to do? Some have pivoted total industries. And I know a guy, he spent his life just working for the airlines and in senior positions, and it hit him like a freight train when he got made redundant. Nothing was wrong with him. He was exceeding sales and everything, but he was just singled out. Whatever the reason was, be it, his skin color, whatever it was. Yeah. But he was just singled out, and it hit him like a freight train. And he's in his 40s, this guy is, and he's just thinking of what on earth he's going to do with his life now. He's not married. He was married before, and he was in a very abusive relationship with a girl who happened to be a family lawyer. And oh God, everything that she had witnessed in cases, literally she just dumped onto this guy. And I witnessed a very strong guy break.
Mm.
uh
Right, Adam,
yeah,
just gonna have
sorry,
to give me a second.
sure.
Can you pause? Can you pause it?
Okay, it's okay. So yeah, we were. I just touched upon a few things while you're away on the anchor on the audio recording about just expanding about this guy, what he went through, and I think he just lacked trust as time went on. He became stronger towards the end,
Uh-huh.
but he had to pull himself out. No one helped him, um, and I think a lot of guys are in that situation where they actually have no one to talk to. Who you don't understand someone's situation unless you go through it
Yeah.
yourself. You have gone through it yourself personally. And
Well, I disagree with you with that. I think the thing is that this is where specialized people who have trained in those areas. It's one thing talking to a mate, and that mate may or may not understand. They might just say, "Oh, "Yeah, I'll be okay, and get a job. You know, you'll be all right," and slap him on the back and whatever. It's different when you go to somebody who has been trained, and you. And I think this is the thing. It's that whole thing around men who feel that they have to be strong, they can't break down. And it is incredibly difficult. Yes, of course, so many people um, that we both know, me included, I've had to turn around and do something it's part of my skill set, but I'm doing something very different than what I was 2 years ago. So, and I can do that. But I think basically some people, like you said, if you're thinking things will never change, I can be like this until I retire, and then suddenly, bam, COVID, it's incredibly difficult. How do you deal with, you've got to change maybe your whole lifestyle, what's going on for you. So it is incredibly hard. And I think the thing is that with many women, they're so afraid, they want reassurance from their partners or their husbands. And if you can't give that, there'll be a backlash. It's like, I need reassurance. You've got to tell me everything's going to be okay. But he might not be able to say that.
no, because he's in a
Do you
situation which is
believe
alien to him.
it?
He's
You
in a
understand?
situation which is alien to him.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the thing. There's this kind of like, incongruencies. Basically, it's like, I can't tell you that because I don't know. And she's like, tell me, please. I don't need, it doesn't have to even be real. For sometimes for women, it's just a matter of, can you just say something? It doesn't have to even be real. It can be in the future that it's going to be okay. So,
Because I'll give you a slight like I had someone say that it wasn't my wife, but I had someone said this to me once.
yeah.
Why don't you go and get a normal job? Why are you doing all of this and putting yourself through pain? This is when I was I think on my third, fourth failure of a business. I say that very proudly as well. Yeah. Because I believe in life, you have to fail to do something great. And I'm a strong believer in that. Before, I never used to think like that, but I do. I think it's good to make mistakes because you grow as a person. Yeah. Anyway, so I told him, why don't you get a normal job? But my reply is that there's no such thing as a normal job. You don't have stability out there. Technology is constantly changing. In the next 5 to 6 years, management accountancy, conveyancing lawyers, accountants all be redundant because something called blockchain technology, which is the new, like the internet that came along and disrupted everything in the 2000s, will literally rip apart the industry. People will be out of work. Accountant and all these things that, parents wanted their children to become, it's going to be null and void. So there's no such thing, even now in lockdown and pandemic, as a secure job. People are trying to make their own way out there, and it's really difficult just to do your own business. The emotional stress that you go under and having to support a family and stuff, it's just crazy. And you have to be loopy in the head to do that. If you know what you're doing and you've got a secure thing and you've got like a structure around you, and fine, good on you. But if you're on your own and you're thinking, I've been made redundant for my job, I've got no other source of income, I need to make my way in the world, I need to do something myself. And then that's when the stress starts, because your partner, if they're supportive, great. If they're not, oh my God, it's going to be hell for you. And that's the God's honest truth. then who do you talk to? You can't talk to them. And, you know,
Yeah.
friends sometimes don't understand. They're like, oh, don't worry, mate, it's all right. Oh, there's plenty of fish.
That's what I said. That's
You
what I
know?
was saying. That they'll probably slap you on the back and say. I mean, look. The thing is that there's the reality that things are difficult, but there's also another reality that people are making mega bucks at this moment in time.
Oh, yeah.
I remember in Greece when they went, their economy went, when they went bankrupt, wasn't it? This one man, he started a business making locks and things because
Yeah.
people needed to lock their houses,
Yeah.
and he became literally this incredibly wealthy man. So the thing is, there is always a way out. There is always a way out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in our particular tradition, in my faith tradition, basically it said that if you can have a meal, got a roof over your head, you're 99% better off than the rest of the people in the world, because basically if you've got enough for a day, you've got literally got enough for a day. And it's a really important saying, because we're made to think about how we're going to live for the next year, 5 years, or whatever. And a lot of it is, like I said, our inflated thinking, our stress is about how can I carry on, blah, 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 blah. And we need to, this is where we need to kind of like sit down and unpack that thinking. What's a reality and what's not real, in terms of, you've kind of made this huge monster. And yes, the reality is, yes, you may be made redundant. You may need to kind of maybe downsize, move, who knows what, but there is also help out there. You can do things, but you've got to be able to articulate it. If you just sit there holding on to all of that, you won't be able to do anything at all.
Mm.
And I've seen men, and I've spoken with families where, some men are just on Facebook all the time. They've literally kind of stopped thinking, don't want to do anything, and they literally buried their head like an ostrich. They're not going to do anything, and then suddenly it's going to be worse.
Yeah, it's called gratification. They call it in psychological terms a gratification monkey. It's it's their getaway from dopamine. That's it, dopamine. Yeah, it's instant dopamine for them. Go on social media, spend your time there. Don't worry about what's happening around you. It's like drinking alcohol. Social
Yeah,
media is
yeah, yeah,
literally an
yeah,
alcoholic drug now. It's
yeah, yeah,
literally
yeah.
that. You have the same effect of dopamine when you drink alcohol and you go on social media and you look at other people's great or crappy lives, and you just take pure pleasure from it. You look at the fast cars, the nice girls, whatever it is, yeah, and you're like, oh wow, this is amazing, and you're just indulged in this different world away from the thing around you. Then as soon as you shut down the phone, the screaming, the noise, knowing that you got no money and everything is around you, and you're like, wow, I wish I could have all of that. And then you just go into this Alice in Wonderland, dreamland again. And I think Alice in Wonderland is so true in many aspects in today's world, is because social media is the Alice in Wonderland. And, you have this thing where if you're not complying, off with your head in Alice in Wonderland. And it's true, because if you're not getting the likes, if you're not getting the influencer status, you're no one, you're nothing. And even if you're just looking to waste time and get away from the reality around you, you've just got to put into priorities of what is it that you actually want to do. Why are you doing what you're doing? I think people have to ask a why question, especially the guy. Why am I doing this? Why is this going to be beneficial for me? What's going to happen after all of this? Am I using this correctly? Can I use social media to my advantage? There we go. See, as I told you, she's died on me.
It's mind of its own.
At least it didn't hit me in the face. But so I think with this is that people have to have why. And when you look back at all this redundancy that everything that happened to you, it's only in hindsight that Steve Jobs once said that only when you look back you can connect the dots as to why it all happened. and from personal experience, if I never got made redundant from my job 15 years ago, I was a senior manager at a food investment firm, mergers and acquisitions, and I worked in the sales and marketing and launched businesses. I did all of this stuff. I really enjoyed it, and then bang, I was made redundant. Everything was cut, and it really hit me hard. But I was happy to leave because I hated the last month of being there. I just wanted out. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have done my master's degree. I remember a security guard, he asked me once, he was from Pakistan, this guy was, and I just got my promotion, and I told him, and he said, where did you do your degree? I said, I don't have a degree. He said, what? And he had this look of disgust on his face. It's like the most horrible thing, like I swore at his mum or something. He said, what? How? I was like, I don't have a degree. I didn't finish my last year. My dad passed away and I just started working. Yeah, how did you get this job? I said, because I worked. I've got skills. Yeah. Anyway, if I didn't leave that, I wouldn't have done a master's degree in management. I would have gone on to do a part-time job. I didn't do all of the experiences I went through, the charities. I wouldn't have met you, Saleha, if I wouldn't have made redundant. I wouldn't have met my wife. I wouldn't have done what I done. So everything has a reason, and it clicks into place as time goes on, and you look back, you're thinking, yes, okay, now I get it. And then it starts to dawn upon you, I'm actually really happy. Because imagine what life would be like if you're in your own situation. Because let's face it, you got made redundant and you actually hated your job. Come on, think about it. You hated your job. You hated everything about it, and you were lusting to do your own thing. Now's your chance. Do it. Grab the bull by the horns. That's what you need to do. Man or woman, do it. That's all I can say to you. Don't waste time, because that time's never going to come back.
I think that's really good advice, and I do believe that the journey though is scary. It took me a long time to kind of open up my own business, my own kind of firm.
Yeah.
Because it's just easier. I mean, as human beings, we want to take the easy route. Come on, we want the easiest thing.
Yeah.
But then when you get to a stage and you're thinking, you know what, no, this is not it. I'm not getting what I thought I wanted to have in terms of like whether it's aspirations or what you wanted to do or achieve. Then you can do that. But it took time. I needed to speak to different people. I needed to articulate what was inside of me to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that people, they're listening, they're watching, and something kind of, a bulb just kind of lights up, and says, look, there's some sense here, and we can do it. It's not all doom and gloom. I just want to make sure and say that look, however dark it is for you, there is light. There is light.
I think so. What I would say the takeaways from this show is that how you react to things will determine the end outcome. Yeah, number one. Yeah. Take a breather if you're in a situation. Just count to 10. Have a. Is that your phone or my phone?
No, it's yours.
So yeah, take a breather, and anyway, it's okay. Take a breather, and know that you can gain control back of that situation. Yeah, just know that. If you don't, then the situation will be very disastrous for you, and it's going to be very difficult to deal with. But the other thing is that I think invest in your happiness. Yeah. If you are not in a happy place, try and make yourself happy. Find something that will make you happy. Yeah. Because if it doesn't, life can be very miserable. It sounds like we're in Arabia or somewhere, isn't it? There's hours going off the front. I have so many phones. I have so many phones.
You can't find your phone.
You know what? I have so many phones. I have one phone, two phones, three. I have 5 phones lying around this office.
Oh my gosh.
And
Okay,
they're
well,
all
it's a
playing
good
off.
thing that it's a good thing that five didn't go off together, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the brass band to come through the door now as well. And I was, that was sorry, I was quick digress off a very serious note that I was trying to end up. But so I think God, where is that? Where is that? Anyway, hold on. Let's just. I can't even find that phone. Okay, look, don't worry about it. Okay, look. I think the last point is that if there's something you want to do, and you're looking at redundancy or being on furlough, and it's going to end, and the outlook looks very bleak. And let's be honest, yeah, we know the economy is not going to come back to normal. We're in a recession. There's something you need to do. This is a sign. Grab the bull by the horns and make something happen. This is your chance now to fulfill what you've always wanted to do, whatever it may be, or whatever it may have been. Get pen to paper and do something. And you know what? Talk to someone. Talk to someone about your idea. Talk to someone about how you feel. You're stressed. Fine, we're all stressed. Just talk to someone. Tell someone you should write it down. You know what I've been doing personally? I personally have been writing a diary every day for the last 3 months now, and I never could be bothered to do it. I have intended and procrastinated, and now I have been writing these things before, like it's called brain dumping. They call it NLP, right? Just to write things on pieces of paper, your thoughts and the day's thoughts. And I always end up with what I'm grateful for just at the end. I moan and whatever on it, but I end up with what I'm actually grateful for at the end. And it's really helped my psyche. Just as when I wake up in the morning, that's all off my head. I don't wake up with that burden on my head anymore. So I just think that just do something that will allow you to let go of the luggage. Yeah, that's one thing I've been doing. It's really worked for me. So I think the takeaways from this show are that. And if there's anything you want to add, Saleha, sorry.
No, that's brilliant. I'd just say that's a really good thing. I would say to people that look at what things you can be grateful for.
Yeah.
That's really important. It's a really good exercise.
Yeah.
And remember, there's always help out there.
Yeah.
And you know, we hope that people take advice and do the different things that we've suggested today.
Yeah.
And hopefully you'll come out of it better at the other end.
So okay, look. So thank you for joining us, everyone. We hope you found this informative and rather enlightening. Do join us for our other podcasts. We will be coming not live, but on air every Wednesday, hopefully at the same time. We'll release out on social media join our Instagram page, VIP Minds Podcast, our YouTube channel as well. We'll put this the video out on YouTube at some point, and our Facebook page, VIP Minds Podcast. Do join us. It's VIP Minds is the handle. So do join us on there. Any questions you want to ask, send us a message on there, and we'll happily, reply back. If there's anything that you want to talk about, do approach us. We're always happy to, just
discuss a topic.
Put you in the right direction or wherever it needs to be. But join us next week anyway for another podcast, and we'll let you know on social media as to what the next subject will be. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us, and do have a lovely evening. And it's good evening, good day, and good night from myself.
And good evening from me, Saleha.